back to Candy's Classic Game Shrine, everyone. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Virtual Boy flashcart known as the FlashBoy Plus. Just want to preface this video by saying I was sent this for review by Vintex64. However, as always, the thoughts and opinions are 100% my own. Now with that said, let's get started. Today in the Virtual Boy collecting scene, you have several flashcart options to choose from. But how do you know which one is right for you? I find the easiest way to decide is to look at each of the 3 available flashcarts as being in their own classes. It feels as though there's an option to make everyone happy based on their needs. You have the Hyper Flash 32, Hyperboy, and now back after great demand, the FlashBoy Plus. So what makes these carts different from one another? Let me give you a quick rundown. The Hyper Flash 32 is a cart that allows for multiple ROMs to be loaded onto it and then chosen via an e-ink screen on the cartridge itself. As the name suggests, the Hyper Flash 32 has a 32 megabit capacity to hold larger ROMs like Hyper Fighting. It requires an external power source in order to choose from the games on the cartridge though. This is the highest priced Virtual Boy flashcart at $225, however it is currently out of production. This may change in the future. The Hyperboy is a high capacity flashcart, however it is more similar to the FlashBoy Plus in that it can only have one game flashed onto it at a time. This cartridge sells for about $160. Now the FlashBoy Plus is a revision of the original Virtual Boy flashcart and allows for one game to be flashed at a time and includes a save function. It has a smaller capacity than any of the other flashcarts, but it is more than capable of playing 99% of the Virtual Boy library, including homebrew. You can purchase the FlashBoy Plus for around $105 plus shipping on Vintex64.com and $135 plus shipping on StoneAgeGamer.com. Back in the early days of the Virtual Boy, members of the community longed for a way to enjoy the library of games in an easier and more cost-friendly manner. For a long while, there wasn't anything to satisfy that need. It wasn't until 2007 when Virtual Boy and Vectrex community member Richard came along and released the FlashBoy. This was the Virtual Boy's first ever flashcart solution. It featured 16 megabits of internal flash memory, which allowed for users to flash a single padded ROM to the cartridge via PC and USB. This little cart not only gave others a means to enjoy the officially released games, but it also helped give birth to the Virtual Boy homebrew scene. Originally, these carts were produced by cannibalizing official carts like Virtual League Baseball and even Mario's Tennis to use their shells and other parts. As time went on, Richard refined the FlashBoy by adding a save support function via 8 kilobits of SRAM and 3D printing shells for the cartridges. This version was referred to as the FlashBoy Plus. Sales of these carts continued on until 2019 when Richard retired from making FlashBoy parts. The demand for FlashBoy Plus never died despite Richard retiring. Vintex64, a source of reproduction Virtual Boy games, reached out to Richard in 2022 and worked out a way to revive the FlashBoy Plus. Vintex didn't just make a carbon copy of the old FlashBoy Plus though. There were some improvements that were made on the inside and out that we'll now go over. Beginning with the board, they updated the copper to 3 ounces from 1 ounces in order to increase power, ground, and data line stability and set up a professional factory to auto-assemble the FlashBoy Plus. Note the test board that Vintex designed/made. They replicated the full FlashBoy Plus into a long board with sockets to test alternative parts and fix some issues that were seen in earlier batches. With Richard's help, they recompiled the original firmware to get things even better. During COVID, the original PIC microcontroller was out of stock, but that didn't stop Vintex from testing alternatives with this test board. When it comes to internals, Vintex swapped out the oscillator and PIC. The oscillator is the silver rectangular part in the upper right corner of the board, and the PIC is the square chip towards the left. You may notice different markings on the top, especially when both the new and older boards are side by side from one another. Richard and Vintex discussed which design of the shell to go with, and while Richard liked the 3D printed design, Vintex preferred the OEM look. This was especially so since it was easy to incorporate their label die cut to make labels for the new batches of the Flashboy Plus. These new carts offer a neat branding on the cartridge itself with the Flashboy Plus logo on the back. Vintex sent me some other shell options to show the potential of these carts. Unlike the Flashboy Plus of yesteryear, there are several new label options to choose from. I personally love these two the most because they remind me of the official labels, though I will admit, this Tentacle Virtual Boy one is pretty epic. Many are probably wondering why Vintex64 would take up this project. What happened was when the Flashboy Plus went out of production, they began to get many messages from customers asking them to make an alternative budget flash cart. It was a fellow team member that pushed them to reach out to Richard in order to remake the Flashboy Plus. To their surprise, Richard was quite interested in letting them take over the project. Vintex64 normally does reproduction and special accessories, but they like the simplicity of the Flashboy Plus and the history behind it. Considering their existing work with reproductions, this just seemed like a natural step forward. They like the fact that most parts are actually still in production and common, and this is something they take into account when working on any project. They want to make sure that parts are common, otherwise they'll be obsolete down the road and they'll need a potentially costly redesign in the future. Going forward, Vintex would love to see if future big Virtual Boy games could be split between 2 megabit ROMs. This way, people could play beyond one section, then load up the next section, and the save file can roll over. It would allow folks wanting the cheaper flash cart to still enjoy some of the larger homebrew and support those developers. It would also be reminiscent to the Famicom disk system and how certain games needed to be flipped to side B. So you have a Flashboy Plus now. How do you use it? Well, let's go through it together. First things first, what operating system are you running? If you're running a Windows OS, you'll want to go and download the padding program and the flashing program in order to pad and flash your ROMs onto the Flashboy Plus. I'll provide links in the description to the programs and files you'll need. I will not be providing ROM files though. You can Google that stuff. I know you can do it. I believe in you. If you have the ROMs you want, you're going to want to pad them so that they fit on the Flashboy Plus. Without doing this step, your ROMs will not work. To do this, locate the ROMs that you want to pad. Keep in mind that you can pad more than one at a time. Select the ROM or ROMs that you want and drag them over to the Pad VB program. If you've done this correctly, you'll see a duplicate ROM pop up with an _pad in the title. Now you'll want to connect your Flashboy Plus to your computer via the USB cable and make sure your computer recognizes the Flashboy Plus. Once you know it's been recognized, open the flasher program labeled Flashboy, select the ROM you want to flash, and click the flash button and wait until it's done. After the game has been flashed, you're free to disconnect the flash cart from your computer and play the game you just flashed onto it. There's no need to erase a ROM before loading a new one on. The flashing program does that for you. Now if you don't run Windows, you can still pad and flash your ROMs to the Flashboy Plus. There are methods where you can do everything via terminal, but the truth be told, I find it best as a Mac user to run a virtual machine in order to get the job done. I say this for multiple reasons. My reasons being that you can use a virtual machine for more than just Virtual Boy padding or flashing. It could be used for patching programs, modding programs, and other things often found in the gaming homebrew scene. More often than not, these programs have more user-friendly interfaces than the non-Windows ones and take less advanced knowledge on computers in order to operate them. Services such as VirtualBox are free to download and use, and running a Windows 10 or 11 VM should come at no additional cost as well. In order to set up your VM, just visit virtualbox.org and download the appropriate version for your computer. Once you have your VM set up, you just follow the same directions Windows users do, as previously mentioned in this video. It was the original Flashboy Plus that helped me grow a deeper appreciation for the Virtual Boy, so it makes me so happy to see it still kicking. It's great to have a cost-friendly option out there for folks to be able to dive into the Virtual Boy library, both official and homebrew. I think with the new refined board, labels, and shells, people will be pleased with it if and when they purchase one. So that was my look at the FlashBoy Plus revision for the Virtual Boy. Hope this video was informative for those that were looking to purchase a FlashBoy Plus, and potentially for those that already have one. Well, with that said, everyone, hope you enjoyed. Till next time, take care.